I'm so excited to kick off this first podcast interview style. And it was really important to me that my first guest be someone very special in my life, someone who I know very intimately, who's been in my life for years now. But also the reason why Dawn is so important to me, not going to get emotional. When I've gone through this kind of death year, Dawn has been my sister. She's been my rock. She has been the person that when things were just too much to bear, that I could just send her a voice memo and say, I'm not good. And that my sister would be there for me and show up not just in so much compassion, but with as much vulnerability in her own life, which made me feel really safe to trust her with probably one of the most vulnerable seasons of my life. And so without further ado, Dawn, welcome.
Hi, that is such a beautiful introduction. I love you. I'm so excited to be here.
Dawn, we are going to be talking about something really powerful, which is the subconscious. And it's something that you took me through
Mhm.
because I was like, excuse my French, but what the fuck is going on in my life, Dawn? And I
Yeah.
don't know what's happening. And you've been supporting people as a mentor, as a guru. You've been a mystic champion. And so I knew, and you've been this badass in business. And so I was just like, if anyone can help me understand this, maybe you can help me. And you took me through a subconscious, uh,
Kind of reprogramming. Yeah.
reprogramming. Yeah. You helped me reprogram some things, which those who are my spiritual alpha community, whose cameras are hidden right now, but at the end of our call, you're going to take them through the same experience that you took me through. But Dawn, how did you get into this world of inner healing, trauma work, intuitive work, subconscious reprogramming? How did you get into this?
It's funny. It kind of found me, but it started because I had such a connection to everything metaphysical. So I was just drawn to going into metaphysical stores, learning about intuition, learning about energy work. And so when I was in pharmaceutical sales in my 30s, I decided to take a course that would teach me how to open up and access my clairvoyance. And so it all started with that. And I basically took that, practiced it, and it was an 18-month, I think, class or whatever program. And at the end of it, I decided to print out business cards and I started handing out business cards to my friends. And before you know it, it turned into a business because it started off with my ability to receive information and channel. And so that's where it all started. And I would do channeling and healing. And then years of doing this and then stepping into coaching. The reason the subconscious work came up was because after doing like at least 1,000 readings, thousands of readings, and seeing so many similar issues. People have the same type of stuff that they like to look at: relationship, health, work, money is always like the same things. And I would have some people come back to me with, just for the readings, let's just say, with no change. And I was like, what's going on? They have the information. I'm telling them this is what's happening, this is what's blocking you, and yet nothing was moving. And so I started to see that the thing that was keeping people stuck at a core level was their subconscious beliefs. And so I dove into that as a mentor and started to study and go through a whole program to learn about the subconscious and how it works and how to access the subconscious. And so it's funny, as I started doing spiritual work, it's kind of like the path just opened up and everything that I needed to learn just would kind of show up as I would see where people were not moving and not transforming. And then I'd say, okay, what is that? And then I go learn it. So that's kind of how it's morphed over the years, from intuitive healing to mentorship to specializing in subconscious transformation.
And really quick, just for people who are kind of new to this work, when you say you were doing readings for clients and it wasn't necessarily clicking, what is a reading?
So for me, a reading, because everybody's going to be a little bit different, but for me, I would literally ask the person to give me 2 to 3 areas of what they want me to look at so they can receive, clarity and guidance from me and healing. And I would close my eyes and then I'd access their energy field where there's tons of information. So I could literally see where they were stuck in their body, based on the chakra system. And then I could pick up information from source. So I consider it straight from source that is through the quantum field about them and about what's happening for them. And a lot of times it's what's in their blind spot, because otherwise, sometimes it's stuff that they know about themselves. They're like, yes, yes, yes. And other times I'd say something, and they'd be like, oh, I didn't know I was holding on to that thing with my mom, let's just say. So it was just this information comes through, and then I would ask them their permission to do energy work, to move. And that's considered the healing part, where I'd say, hey, I see your solar plexus, your stomach area is blocked. Can I start to move that energy? So it was a co-creative process. It's not just me going in there and going, hey, let me move this. Because what I found is providing information to somebody is very supportive, because it's very validating of their experience, and it helps them to see, a little bit what's in their blind spots. But the energy work, actually getting in there and seeing and moving energy kind of together in a way, because I have to have their permission, really creates this kind of energetic tune-up where maybe like, where they're confused and blocked before, they start to have some openness and some clarity, and they can start to move forward. So that's what a reading is. And I still do them to this day. Yeah. It's just more specialized in like the subconscious.
I just feel like you're like this kind of like library of so much of a wealth of information. And I remember specifically in Bali, I feel like I've come to you for so many things over so many years. And I'll never forget when I came to you, and it's like it's like this bullseye kind of laser effect that you have. And I'd come out of a 4-year relationship where I understood that the person had some that they had some narcissistic tendencies, but that I also came from a background of CPTSD. And even though the person and I were no longer together, there was still like that bond. And I just remember telling you, like, Dawn, I have seen every healer in Bali. I've worked with therapists. I've done everything. And it was like you just pulled from your arsenal, that wealth of information that you go and you're like, oh, you need to go read this book. And it was just like, of all things, like you knew exactly where to pinpoint for me. And that book changed my life. It brought so much clarity as to why I was in this pattern, why I couldn't escape it, why I shouldn't blame myself. And it was just like, had you not had that laser ability to just see into people and see where their energy is trapped, and tell me that, like, maybe to this day I would have still been in that pattern.
So crazy to think. Well, and that's, I think all of us have that intuitive ability to tap in and support others and support ourselves. It's just that sometimes we don't trust it. Like my whole path has been about trusting my intuition and learning discernment. But for you, I mean, yeah, and those things come from spirit. It comes from something outside of us, I believe. It's not just me going, oh, yeah. When I channel for people, it's not me. I'm just have this ability to open myself up to receive the information.
Wow. Dawn, the majority of my audience are men, and
Mhm.
I feel like I don't feel like I know that men have been brainwashed into believing that they're not as gifted with their intuition, that this is something that women have, which I'm of the mindset that women have it because they've been actively using it, and they've been given the permission to use their intuition, and they've trusted their intuition to help use it as a skill and a tool to navigate through life. But for men, it's almost like that gift has been withheld from them. If a man's watching this right now and he's like, shit, I don't even know, where would I even begin to start listening to my intuition? How would I even start? What would you say to them?
I think the thing for men that is most important is they have to be in touch with their feelings because your feelings are very much connected to your intuition. So when you suppress anger or shame or guilt or whatever it may be, that is, believe it or not, very tapped in and connected to your ability to receive. Because if you're not receiving your anger, let's just say, you've been taught it's bad to be angry, or it's bad to, or anger might not even be a good example. It might be more like a feeling that's like sadness. You've been taught, hey, you're not supposed to feel like that. Go out, go get, like if they're a little kid and it's like, go back on the field and go do this. If they're playing a sport, don't be sad that you didn't get that point or whatever it was, where they started to learn like it's not safe for me to feel these more feminine emotions or for me to even feel in general, then they've kind of shut down that ability to receive themselves. Because if you can, you can pick up certain things, but if you really want to open up your intuition, you have to be able to receive your feelings. And so to me, if you could just do that and start to face the darkness that we all have within ourselves, and I'm not talking about evil, I'm talking about those darker feelings that most of us as a society have been taught to repress, especially men, because it's like, this is probably why you call this, the spiritual alpha, because in a way, it's like an alpha is a leader, right? And they're meant to, men are in their masculinity when they're at their highest, they're meant to lead and they're in touch with their feelings and they're in touch with their ability to receive information from the quantum field. But if they've been indoctrinated into not feeling, the first thing they have to do on their spiritual journey is learn to access those parts of themselves that they shut down such a long time ago.
I
Does that
remember
make sense?
it makes perfect sense. I remember I was doing a group coaching thing when I was back in Bali. It was called my Emotional Warrior Program. And I'll never forget there was one guy who really was stuck. And he said to me, and I think that a lot of men feel this way. He said, Erica, I grew up with a father that told me from the movie with Tom Hanks and Madonna and all them, it was a baseball movie. And
Mm.
where he's training these women to play baseball. And then one of them gets hurt, and Tom Hanks yells at her and he goes, there's no crying in baseball. And he said, Erica, I grew up with a father that was the mentality. And I said, it's such bullshit, because if I take a fastball and I'm able to throw it 95 miles per hour at your balls, I promise you there is crying in baseball.
Yes, 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 exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting how, it's on the outside looking in, you wouldn't think that emotions have anything to do with intuition, because emotions are energy emotions. It's the actual feelings. It's the deeper feelings that if you're in a conversation with somebody and you get like a ping in your stomach, that's actually intuition. There's different things that happen in the body. So it's really being able to feel, get into the body, and then being able to make space and time to receive that information. Men use it all the time in business, and they're like, I don't know why I'm so good, but I knew this business deal was the right business deal for me, because they're listening to that instinctual part of them that is connected to their intuition. It's just in order to receive more of it, that would be the path. It's just getting more connected to themselves.
Wow.
Mhm.
And sometimes I think, one of the best teachers is just having an experience of, even if you're not, because I can imagine like there are some men, like I can just feel my throat chakra, like just where they're trapped, it's like they're trapped to be able to voice those things and things like that. And sometimes you just need someone to create that container where they can just have that experience. It's like, Dawn, if I tried to do this on my own, it's going to take me another 10 years, because subconsciously I'm so blocked in this area. For someone like that, and they hear what you're saying, they're like, Dawn, can you help me the way that you helped Arica? Could you just take me through a session so that I can like kind of break this open? What could they do with you?
They could definitely do a session with me that lasts about 75 minutes. And I can go in and I can look just like I've always done and receive the information from their, energy and see where they're blocked in that specific area that they want me to look at and help them start to shift, reprogram, heal, and get that guidance and clarity that's maybe in their blind spot that they need. So I usually, do those sessions for $555, but for your guest, I would love to offer them introductory rate. So I could do that, yeah, for 297.
Oh, that is so
Yeah.
sweet of
Yeah, just
you.
because I would love to support and help the people that support you. And
Oh,
so definitely for the next 30 days, I can offer that price to support them.
okay, guys. Well, you guys have to take advantage of that because for the next 30 days, wow, that's incredible. Yeah, because I feel like men, it's like with women, I mean, I think the biggest complaint that men get is, like, I don't feel you, I don't feel connected to you. So you have that. Or you get men who just become complete nice guys. And I hear this so many times, Dawn, where it's like a business opportunity or something that they've missed out on because the woman was pressuring them, their wife was pressuring them, but inside they felt like they were supposed to do it. And they don't
Mm,
because they tried to be the nice guy. And then the woman ends up divorcing them in the future. And it's like following those instincts are like monumental from the feeling aspect to the making decisions and being the spiritual alpha, leading your wife, your family.
yeah, it's an integrated masculine and feminine energy within themselves because the feminine aspect of all of us is the receiving part of us that gets the intuition, right? That hit. And then the masculine part of us is the take action and do something about it. So it's very important that they're trusting themselves because
Wow.
that's the reason why the wife would divorce somebody like that is because she doesn't feel safe because he's not trusting his own intuition and he's not taking action and being a leader. Right? It's you won't feel led and supported because the woman wants to feel like the man is able to access his own information and take action on that. And so somewhere within himself, that's a an issue of him being able to discern and make decisions to lead himself first.
Wow. You know what? I think right there is just enough. We should just wow. You've just said that's a power statement. I know for some guys who are watching this who have gone through that experience that is gonna land really hard for them. But my encouragement would be you may have made some mistakes. Okay, that was a problem, but now here's a solution. Reach out to Dawn, book one of these sessions with her so that you can start changing how you show up in your relationships and your life in general. Dawn, thank you so much for being here and for offering this. It's so generous of you.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you. I'll be bringing another expert next month. I'm so excited to be doing this. Know that you're loved, that you matter, and we'll see you next time, my spiritual alpha. You guys take care. Bye.